Okay, I couldn't help wearing these for this special occasion of finally having this Husqvarna CL21A finished. And it's getting ready to head towards Sharon in Selma, North Carolina. So I'm going to jump into this right away and show you what this machine is capable of doing. It's pretty amazing. We might as well start with heavy duty. Let's see. We will start with 2 layers of this genuine cowhide leather. You want to look at it from the side. That's what we're looking at right there. Alright, I'm going to put that underneath the presser foot, and we'll see what this CL21A that's heading out to Selma, North Carolina can do with a task like this that would send other machines running away really fast. Even with classical music like this playing, they would be terrified. Alright, so here we go. Not much of a challenge there. Not even a little. Not even a smidgen of a challenge. We clip these threads. I'm going to have to really zoom in on this so you can see it. Oh my goodness, those are beautiful. Oh, those are beautiful. Right in front of the needle. Let's zoom in on those. We're not in a big hurry, are we? I could jump right into another sew up, but I want to show these off. Come on, camera. So there's our side right there. You can see the thickness of that. 2 layers of genuine cowhide leather. That's kind of ridiculous. But not for one of these machines that I've prepared. And look at the stitch quality. Oh, I'm loving that. I am loving that totally. I'm going to come out just a little bit. See if I can turn that over. Now, you're going to have trouble seeing this on genuine cowhide unless I really try to pull it back, because you know what? My machines don't goof off. They drive that home. I'm going to see if I can flip this screen around and kind of pull that leather back a little bit so you can see part. Where am I? Good Lord. You know what? That is in there so hard I can barely even see it. So I'm going to come out again and get by the needle. We're just going to go for layer number 3. Because when this machine drives that stitch home, you're going to be hard pressed to see it. You really will be. Alright, I'm going to come out just a little bit. Flip my screen around. Let's go for layer number 3, shall we? So we've got our 2 layers already, right? I'm going to add another layer to that equation. This is what we're looking at now, folks. We're talking close to 12 ounces of genuine cowhide leather. That is not an easy task. All right, so let's see what this CL21A heading out to Selma, North Carolina quite soon can do with a task like this. Here we go, folks. Keep your fingers crossed. You know what? It's almost ridiculous, isn't it? It's practically ridiculous how easy this machine makes the task look. Am I in the camera? Can you see it? Can you see that stitch? Good gravy, folks, really? Let me move my lights in a little bit. Let's get some more lights on this. Can you see that? That is absolutely crazy. Let's zoom in on it as well. And I'm not going to try to, because of the nap of this leather, it was a total pointless effort to try to show that lock stitch on the 2 layers. Now we've got 3 layers of genuine cowhide leather. You can see the grain of that leather. That is not lightweight stuff, folks, at all. And look at the quality of that stitch. The spacing, the formation. You can just see how it's just driven it into that leather. There's no messing around with this machine. I mean, when it's going to do the job, it's going to do the job. It's that simple. If I turn it over, all I'm going to do is just show you the nap and a stray thread that is just random there. Good gravy. Can you see that nap through the camera? The grain, just the texture of it. I mean, it just basically is saying, yeah, go ahead, try to pierce through me. It's not going to happen. But you know what? We just did it like it was an absolute walk in the park, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up now for some decorative stitching. That's the cool thing about this CL21A, and certainly the other green machines have the same bragging rights. You know what, when it comes to heavy duty, how do you beat a machine like this with an original Swedish 1.5 amp motor? It's going to peak even higher than that after I get done with it. So we're talking probably close to 1.6, 1.7 amps of absolute raw nail-biting power for this CL21A after I've gotten done restoring it. But it's got a soft side to it as well. That's kind of why it was so appropriate to start with the classical music. And we might as well resume and do like one more little ditty while we're doing the decorative side as well, right? Because now what we're going to do is demonstrate the pretty side of the CL21A, and that is showing off some of the decorative stitching that it can do. Now I'm going to get this into position, but I'm also going to show you again to remind you what we did with cam letter B, and it was this stitch output right here. Can you see those pretty much in the camera? That again was cam B, and I decided to mix it up a little bit. So I ended up putting in cam A to do the stitch off on camera. And again, when you change the stitch length and stitch width, you could totally revamp and revolutionize how these stitches look. You're not stuck with these stitches. You have almost unlimited stitch variation when it comes to what these Husqvarna green machines can do when they've been properly restored and properly prepared. So let me bring the camera down just a little bit, and we're going to see what this CL21A can do on the pretty side when it comes to decorative sewing. So just to remind you again, when you're changing between the cam settings on the CL machines, and certainly the other green machines as well, and I should probably zoom back out just so you can actually see it. I don't like describing something and you're not able to see what I'm talking about. Once I get my camera lens out of the way, that is. So when I'm going to come out a little bit on this so you can see while we're doing it. and then I'll zoom in before I start stitching, okay? So as we get ready to prepare to do the pretty side of what this Husqvarna CL21A can do, we've got to make some adjustments. Right now we're on 0 because we are doing a straight stitch for our heavy grade sewing. Again, if you just tuned in, we basically just went through 3 layers of genuine cowhide leather, probably about 12 to 14 ounces of cowhide leather. Oh my gosh. Rewind it a couple of times and watch how easily Sharon's machine got that task done. And that's absolutely, this is more essential than anything because Sharon's husband is going to be doing leather sewing with this CL21A if she ever lets him do it. So, what do we have to do? Well, right now we're on cam setting 5 right on here. So we're on the cam 5. That's fine, we can start there. So I'm going to move this over to 4 and we can jump right in. After I make a slight adjustment on our stitch length up here, I'm going to take it from 4 all the way down to about 1.5, I think. I could go lower than that. The beauty of these green machines is you can go all the way down to 0.5. You can't do that on any other machines out there. It's unique to the Swedish engineering of these Husqvarna green machines. But we're only going to take it down to about, what the heck. Let's go down to 1.25, okay? That's where I'm going to start with it. And we're going to be sewing stitch number 5, and this again is cam A. All right, you ready? Let's see what this machine can do. Yes, it's running. And I just broke a promise to you. I told you that I would zoom in. All right, so each time we change from, right now we're on stitch number 5, I'm going to zero it out by turning this, and make sure your needle is onto the fabric. I'm going to be turning this down to 0, making my adjustment going from stitch number 5 to stitch number 4, and then I can take it back to 4 again, okay? You're not going to do anything with the stitch length right now. I apologize. I said I was going to zoom in and I didn't do it. Doggone it. But you could still see it. Isn't that a pretty stitch? I got to go over there so you can see this. That is absolutely gorgeous. All right, let me come out just a little bit. I don't want to make you all dizzy. Okay, so we're going to do stitch number 4 now. And I promise not to zoom away again so you can actually see the machine working. And listen to, good gravy, how quiet this machine is. It's absolutely insane. And this machine, as you saw me go through all the finalization steps, I can tell you one thing, it didn't sound like that in the beginning. What pretty music this is, isn't it? Bill, you're loving this, aren't you, buddy? Okay, so we're going to line up right next to this stitch. I'm going to get my big old hands out of the way. This again is stitch number 4 on cam A. Here we go. Oh, that's a pretty one too. That's a scallop looking one. Can you see that if I kind of rotate it around like that a little bit? Here, I'll show all these to you when I get done. Not a worry, not a worry. So again, what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and reset our stitch width from 4, and you don't have to operate it at 4. You could certainly go lower than that to change the look of that stitch that the machine is generating. So, and then I'm going to move over to stitch number 3. So I'm going to lower the presser foot, making sure again your needle is onto the fabric. I'm going to take it down to 0. I'm going to move us from stitch number 4 to stitch number 3. For my purposes, I'm going to take us on stitch width back up to 4 again. And now we're going to sew off stitch number 3 on cam A. Here we go. I could go a lot faster, folks, really. I could go a lot faster than that. I'm just choosing not to. This is a cool, like, little modified stretch zigzag that we just generated. Again, that's stitch number 3 on cam A. Get that thread back in place. Clip my little thread tails. Now, I had a couple of folks that joined in on a recent premiere, and they said, Scott, this was more than one individual. It's not a bipolar or multi-personality person saying we. It's multiple people said, we really enjoy when you have classical music playing with your premieres. So I'm going to step in front of the camera real quick and see if I can't get another piece playing for you. Let's see what else we can find here. Oh, there's got to be something else, really? Let's see here. Oh, this is fun. Let's put this one on. Now, I know all of you are thinking about weddings, but this is actually from Midsummer Night Dream, I believe. All right, so let's see, 5, 4, 3. I've got to reset, and we're going to go down to stitch number 2 now. And I'm turning the stitch width back to 4, and here we go. We got going on now. I don't know if you can see any of those in the camera or not. Yeah, that's the one we just did on the very top there. These are absolutely gorgeous stitches, Sharon. You are going to have a tough time giving this machine up. You give me a call or send me a note if it means preserving your marriage and peace in the home. And we can always get you another green machine just for your husband. I know this one is intended for him, but yeah, it's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a real tough one. All right, so I'm zeroing out the stitch width, again, making sure the needle is out of the fabric. And we're going to our final stitch, stitch number 1 on cam A. Here we go. Guys, seriously, folks, I was like a quarter of the way down in the foot control. A quarter of the way. I'm not kidding you. Oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. I can't even believe. Yes, I can believe. I did this on my workbench. Duh. Yeah. Okay. So we started with stitch 5, right? Let's see if I can do this down here, and I'll bring my lights in on it. I hope it doesn't fall. It might fall. I hope it doesn't. All right. So the last stitch we did is on the bottom. The first stitch we did is on top, and you're looking at the needle still, so you're saying, we don't even have any idea what you're talking about, Scott. Okay. So the first stitch we did right up here. It's each one of these cams is going to come with a zigzag. That's basically a zigzag right there. And I had, again, the settings were right around 1.25 on stitch length, right around 4 on stitch width, and that's the product that we generated. And that's our top stitch right there. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we did stitch number 4 because we kind of went backwards. And we generated this stitch right here, which is kind of a scallop style stitch. Again, this is off of cam B. And then we did almost like a stretch style stitch right here. I think that's really a pretty one. And that's going to be stitch, what is this, 543, stitch number 3. Then we did stitch number 2, which is kind of like a blind hem or a pyramid stitch. We can call it almost anything you want, folks. And then finally, stitch number 1 on Cam B was this right here. And again, you can totally change the look of this by modifying stitch length and stitch width, depending what your like is, what your project desire is. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Let me spin it around and you can see the lock stitch too. I love it. All right, so again, stitch number 5, stitch number 4. The little white tufts again are just a byproduct of this U.S. Army grade canvas, folks. Stitch number, what did I say? 543. And the little sides of the pyramids there, that's actually a double stitch is what you're seeing, folks. All right, stitch number 2, the blind hem and or pyramid stitch. I like pyramid stitch better, to be honest with you. And then finally stitch number 1 on Cam B, this jazzy little deal right here. Again, you change the stitch width and stitch length on that, you could get pretty much any look you want from these cam generated stitches. Aren't those pretty? Just spectacular. They're just spectacular. And look at this machine didn't even break a sweat. I've got to move my lights right now because you can't even see the machine. So again, whether your goal is to be absolutely insane and to sew 3 thicknesses of genuine cowhide leather, like this right over here, again, just to show you, just to remind you. You're seeing it from the side, the 3 thicknesses of genuine cowhide leather, folks. Can't even see that other 3rd thickness. Am I delusional? Oh no, there it is. It's tucked behind. There it is. We got one like right in the middle, right there. See it in there? I think you can see it in there. I didn't turn my screen around, so I have no idea what you're seeing right now. So whether you're looking to do crazy heavy-duty sewing like that, or whether you want to do the prettier things, and again, we're looking at the lock stitch right now, folks. I'm not kidding you. That lock stitch could pass as a top stitch because of how gorgeous it is. Stitch definition, formation, and spacing, and everything else under the sun. Unbelievable. You know, and let me make a confession to you real quick, okay? Are you ready for it? The confession is these Swedish beauties require a high level of maintenance. They really do. To get them to a point where they can do and deliver like this on an ongoing, continuous basis, you better be prepared to work in depth, inside and out on these machines to get them performing at this level. It's not going to happen automatically. Don't expect to go to eBay, don't expect to go to Craigslist and generate stitches like this and sew through 14 ounces of full grain leather with this level of ease unless you've had that machine on this workbench, or to find someone that is my equal that takes it to this level of anatomy of the machine. I mean, we're not goofing around when it comes to, and I'm kind of cutting my head off here. We're not goofing around when it comes to me talking about being like a sewing surgeon. When you see those pictures posted on Facebook, that's the real deal, folks. There is no one else that I've found anywhere in the world that spends that that amount of time and goes to that level of depth on machines to get them ready to be shipped out for someone else to enjoy them. But that's my goal on every single machine. I don't want to do anything halfway. I want to go through it at every level of the machine, the anatomy of it, and make that machine right, so that when you get it into your home, you can count on that machine to deliver just like you've seen documented here in this video. And that's really the real deal. When you can take that same piece of leather, that same piece of fabric, as you've seen on the confirmation video, and you get that machine unpacked and you set it up on your table and you can duplicate exactly what I did, you know that there's been nothing doctored or modified. You know, that craft actually landed on the moon. It wasn't a fake moon landing when we did these stitches. It's the real deal. And you're not going to see that anywhere else where people are sharing that much information and sharing those in-depth photos of the restorative process, the finalization process, and then you can actually see the proof in the pudding when that machine is set on the workbench and we set up that camera and we record it in real time like this premiere. You can't change the truth then, folks. It is what it is. And I'm proud to do these in-depth sew-offs before this machine is shipped off to go to Selma, North Carolina, so that Sharon can see, her husband can see, maybe if she tells him, what this machine is capable of doing. And we've only shown the surface. We've only scratched at the surface in showing 3 layers of full, of this basically genuine cowhide leather stuff. Crazy. We could go higher than that. You saw how easy the machine went through it. And you saw how beautifully it sewed these decorative stitches, and that's only the surface of what this machine is capable of doing. So if again, and I said this way back in January, if again you've been putting off and talking about, all right, it's another video premiere on one of Scott's Swedish beauties, I'm going to actually pull the trigger this time. I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually going to make it happen at last. Are you? Because I have another Swedish beauty that I could prepare specifically for you. Do you want it? If you do, you better take action. And this is my serious pink glasses talking at you about actually finally doing it. So we've proven it again. What one of my machines that's been fully restored and prepared on this workbench is capable of doing. 14 ounces of genuine cowhide leather, not even a problem. All those beautiful decorative stitches. Did you notice, I'm sure you did because you're really smart. We didn't cut the video, change out the needle, or do something else like that. We went right from sewing 2 layers of genuine cowhide leather, then 3 layers of genuine cowhide leather, and then generated those absolutely drop-dead gorgeous decorative stitches immediately after doing that. Now most folks, they would have pieced 2 videos together because they would have changed out that needle and put a lighter grade needle on. We sewed the first sew off with about a 90 Schmetz. We would have dropped down to about an 80 or a 70 Schmetz just to really make those stitches gorgeous. We didn't have to because of the way I prepare my machines. We sewed directly from cowhide leather, 2 layers, 3 layers, decorative stitches. Boom, boom, boom. No pause, no piecing videos together. And that's what you get when you buy one of my machines. You can make those transitions, outrageous transitions, from heavy grade sewing on leather, as Sharon's husband is going to be doing, and then shift over to the most delicate quilt edging type decorative and utility stitching that you would want to do when you were quilting on a gorgeous quilt that you're going to be doing. So, and not only that, but look at again the size of the workspace on this machine, the harp space, the overall bed length. It's ridiculous. I contrasted that with another machine recently, I believe it was Francine's machine, where I set it side by side with that newer Platinum that also was made in Sweden. but the workspace was ridiculous as far as the size of the harp and the overall bed length on that green machine, like this one, compared to that newer platinum. And that's not a knock again against Mary Ann's machine. It's a spectacular machine, but how do you compare to something like this? You just can't. So I'm going to zoom in again, and I'm going to try to grab one of my tape measures, and just hopefully I don't run out of battery power or anything like that, and just again show you some of these measurements. And then we'll wrap this video up at last. Yes, I love talking. I can't help it, doggone it. I'm trying to get a tape measure right now, folks. Did I turn my screen around? Yes! So I'm going to move these incredible stitch offs that we did, and just again show you, for measuring overall bed length from the inside of the harp space by the pillar to the end of the bed, you're looking at about 15 inches. 15 inches. Find some other people, unless they've made one of these goofy plexiglass extension beds, which I think are just really ugly, to be honest with you. You're not going to get that much workspace, folks. You're not. Front to back, the depth of the bed, you're looking at about 8 inches. Okay? From needle to pillar, I'm going to come out just a little bit. You're looking at about almost 8 inches as well. It's 8 inches if you go to the center of the pillar. If you go to the edge of the pillar, it's about 7.5. So I'm just going to say 8 inches from needle to pillar, folks. And then if we go again from the bed to the top, you're looking at about 5 inches of clearance vertically. Those measurements are going to be hard to beat. They really are. Whether you're doing heavy grade sewing, whether you're doing some serious hardcore quilting, that is about as good as it gets. And again, if you're going to be taking this machine to a quilting class, can you imagine? You're going to be like an absolute rock star. I've gone over this with a auto grade wax, as I would do for your machine as well. And it's absolutely crazy how gorgeous this machine is. So don't wait anymore, folks. Take a personal endorsement from the king himself. Stop sitting on your thumbs and get one of my Swedish beauties from Scott's Workbench, so that you don't have to keep whining every single time he puts a video on showcasing one of the machines that was made in my factory, is what the king would say anyway. I should have changed my voice a little bit. You know, I don't know how a king talks. You know what I'm saying. Don't wait any longer. Get your own Swedish beauty, folks. It's waiting here for you. All you need to do is reach out. All right? Stay tuned for more great videos like this, more great premieres like this. God bless you, folks, and good sewing.